Welcome back. We're going to continue looking at while loops. I'm going to dive straight into task 7, basic counting. And this one is all about counting backwards. I'll just remind you the 3 rules of while loops. That is, we should initialize a looping variable first. Have a loop that starts with a test of the looping variable, a little bit like an if statement. And the looping variable must change within the loop. And the task we've got here is basically we're going to add some code to get the start and the stop for a while loop, which will count backwards. And I've put all the code in here really, and let's have a look at this. Well, start doesn't equal stop, print start, and then we change start by -1. Start equals start -1. That's what that means there. So we need to add some code to get the start and the stop, and that's what I'm going to do right now. So start is equal to int input, and stop is equal to int input. And we haven't got any prompts. We've not been asked to use any prompts yet. And so I can run that, and if I run that now, if I type 10 and then 0, then it's given us the answer 10, 9, 8, 7, and so on. And that's fine. That's great. That works perfectly well. And so now I'll run the tests and see if they all pass. They've passed, and I'll submit that. Okay, and that's task 7 completed. Just getting the start and the stop. You could have a look at the model assignment as well, the model solution, just to see if it's any different. The only difference here is that I coded it up when I did it as a model solution, and sorry, I commented it up, and you should always comment things up. Okay, there's lots of comments in the code already for you. You need to make sure that you do comment things. So next task we'll do is task 8, which is guess the number, part 1. Okay, so on here it tells us that the answer is 4. Okay, there's a couple of different ways of doing this, so we're just going to do it the way it suggests with the comments. Okay, so add code to get the user's guess. So I'm going to go guess is equal to int input. Okay, right, and basically if the person hasn't got the answer right, so while guess is not equal to, oops, and that's the not equal sign there, while guess is not equal to the answer, yeah, it says here do not add any extra print statements like try again, it will fail automatically. So here I've just got to do, if somebody didn't get it right, then we just do guess is equal to int input and give them another chance. Okay, the answer is 4. If I guessed 5, then guess wouldn't equal answer, and you'd have to have another go. Add a message for success, and it says you have to print out correct with a capital C. So I'll print correct like that, making sure I've got a capital C in there. And you realize here that somebody can guess there and guess the number 7. While guess doesn't equal answer, they get another chance to guess on line 9. They might say 14. And it would go back to this and guess at 14 doesn't equal answer, so it would still be, that would be true, and we would go inside here and it would keep going in there until those two things equal each other. When those two things equal each other, this is no longer true, and we go down here and we would go correct, and I can run that to see if it works. There's no prompts coming out, so 2, and now it's still waiting for an input 6. Then 4, and it says correct. Okay, so that's fine. Run the tests work, so then finally I can submit it, and that works as well. now I'll go back to the classroom. Of course, you could look at the model solution. Guess the number, part 2. And so here it said, right, on this one you only get 3 attempts. Okay, so there's a count there, and the count is already 1 because you have your first go outside the loop here. Okay, so guess equals input, guess the number, and it's actually got a prompt there, and here you must have the prompts exactly as shown. Okay, so add to the looping condition for guesses less than, right, okay, so here this is almost complete, but what it's saying there is if I ran this now, and if I guess 3, incorrect. If I guess 6, incorrect. If I guessed 1, incorrect. If I guessed 4, it took you 4 attempts. Well, this is fine, apart from I need to know that this person shouldn't have got an extra attempt. Add to the looping condition to test for guesses less than 3. So we go inside here and get another go if guess is not equal to answer. In other words, we haven't got it right, and we haven't had more than 3 guesses. So sorry, that's not guess, that should be count. Okay, so we're going to have a count there. The count has got to be less than 3. If somebody gets it incorrect, they get another go, and count is increased by 1. Let's run that and see if it works. Guess the number. 1, no. And if I guess 4 here, it says correct, it took you 2 attempts. And then if I run it again, 1, 8, 3, and it says correct, and that's not what I want here because I didn't get it right. Okay, so what I need to do here in the results area at the bottom of the program, add an if statement that can separate the success and unsuccessful messages. So here I need to put an if statement. Okay, we've come away from the while loop. We're no longer asking the person if to guess anything, but here they can only be told that they're correct if they got the right answer. Stop the video if you think you know what the condition is. Okay, so here the only time that we're going to say print correct and it took you this many goes is if guess is equal to answer. Don't forget the colon, and here we've got this bit here. So now if I run that the way I did last time, and if I guess 1, 2, 3, then that's good. It's not telling me I got that right. Okay, but what do I have to do? So I need to have this, that should have appeared for me because I got it wrong. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that. So here, this is an if statement, and now it needs an else clause. Either I got it right or I got it wrong. Either guess is equal to answer or it's not. And if it's not, I'm going to print out this message, and I copied it exactly. I copied it exactly so that I didn't get it wrong. And there we go. I'm going to run that. Oh, I'm going to stop that again. I'm going to run it again. 1, 2, 3. Fail. You did not find the answer within 3 guesses. I'm going to run it again. If I go 3, 4, it took you 2 attempts. So now that works. Okay, really good test this is. We've got an answer, which is 4. We've got initialized the count to 1 because we took somebody's guess before we entered the for loop. The while loop. We've got a while loop that you enter if your guess is not equal to the answer and you haven't had 3 goes. If you haven't had 3 goes, you're due 1 more go. And here, print incorrect, then guess is equal to input, guess the number, and then increase the count by 1. Once again, we come up here and we identify whether guess is not equal to answer and count is less than 3. Okay, then you come down here and you've got this message for success. If guess is equal to answer, then they get told correct and it took you this many attempts. Otherwise, print you did not get it, and so on. Okay. and there we go. And now I'm going to submit that, and it's passed all the tests. So that's a tricky one, because here we've got a while loop there and a while loop which has got two conditions with an and. That and means both these things have to be true. Yeah, you got the question wrong, you didn't guess it right, but you haven't had 3 goes yet, and you can go inside this loop and have another go. Then you've got this if statement here as well, so there's a lot to think about. Okay, excellent. Okay, now we're going to look at a special construct called a ForEach loop. Not every programming language has these. Python does, Java does, and they're really, really useful. Okay, I'll let you read that, read the instructions here about the ForEach loop. Okay, really, really easy to use these things. Okay, so I'm just going to go straight to the comments. Get a string from the user using the enter a string prompt. Okay, so that bit's easy. So I'm going to get a string. I'm just going to call it word is equal to input, and then I need to write enter a string. I've done it exactly the way it had it up there. I could have copied and pasted that, I just didn't. Okay, use a for each loop to print each single character on a separate line. So here for, and I'm going to use letter in word. Letter, there's nothing special about letter or word, they're just variable names. Print letter, and I'm going to run that straight away. Enter a string cat, and that looks like it's worked. Okay, so here, yeah, you can see with this example I've done exactly like that for letter and word, but it doesn't matter if it's letter. It could be for anything. You know, I could type dog in there and print dog, you know, and I can run that, type cat again, and it will still work. So these are just variable names, but letter is a sensible variable name. Okay, so I'll put that back to letter. I'll run the tests, and it worked here, and I'll submit that, and that worked fine. I'll go back to the classroom. I'll just refresh my screen, and we'll do the next for each loop. And it says here, get a string from the user using enter a string. So once again, I'm going to do that. And on here it says get a string enter yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to do word again. I was having a look there to see if there was any special context, like somebody's name. Enter a string with a space, and now here it says use an if else statement to decide whether the input is over 3 characters long. So if word, right, so here we need to use len word is greater than 3. So that's the test. If it's greater than 3, use a for each loop which will print each character on a separate line. So here I'm going to go straight in for, and I'm just going to use letter in word. Print letter, and I'm going to test that now. I'm just going to test it. So here, if I enter a string, and if it's cat, if it's cat, it should do nothing because it's not greater than 3. The length of it is, cat has got 3 letters in it. If it's cats, hopefully it will print out CATS, and it has done. So that's great. Now we need the other part of this, which is the else statement. And it says, otherwise print out string too short. Else print string too short. I'm just going to have to make sure that I've got that exactly the way they've got it here, string too short, and that's fine. If I run that again, and if I type in cat, then it says string too short, and I can submit that as well, and that's worked. Okay, now we're going to do the last couple of exercises. Count the A, and this one once again is going to use a ForEach loop, and it gives you the task steps. Initialize a count variable, so count the A's. So I'm going to have count is equal to 0, because here we're going to count how many A's there are in a string. Okay, get a string from the user, so I'm just going to do word is equal to input, and remember you've got to do enter a string exactly as it's done there. Use a ForEach loop to iterate through each character, and so for, and I'm let in word, and I've typed let there just to make you realize that it doesn't have to be letter, and it says test the character for A. So if let is equal to A, so if let is equal to A, we will increment the count. Count plus equals 1, and then finally we'll print out the count. So you can see there's enough comments in here for you to have done this without reading the question. Okay, but there are some key points in here. The word increment is a keyword, and it means to increase the variable, usually by 1. If somebody says increment the variable, it means by 1. If they wanted you to increment it by 2, they would say that. The opposite of increment is decrement. So some keywords for today. I'm going to run that, and here I'm going to type apple, and I didn't really wait for it to do the prompt there, so I've just stopped it. No, I think this is kind of good to look at, because here I went a little bit too quickly and it says stopping there. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to click on that and refresh it. Okay, and hopefully I've got all my work, and I have got all my work there. It's good. So I'm going to run it, and this time I'm going to take my time a bit more. Yeah, okay, enter a string, and I'm going to type apple, and it says 1. Okay, and that's great. I'm going to run it again. Type, it's got 2 there. And that's fine. So now I'm going to submit that and see if it passes the test, and it did. Now I'm going to go to the last task, which is really similar to this one, a little bit more difficult. This one is count A's, B's and C's. So here we're going to count any time where an A, B or C here it's going to say if the count is greater than 0, print out the following format. There were X special letters in the string Y. Okay, otherwise if the count is 0, there were no special letters in the string Y. So we have to do something a little bit extra here. So I'm going to start by saying okay, count is 0, because we haven't started yet. We haven't got the string yet. Next we're going to get the string from the user using exactly the format that was requested, which is enter a string. Use a ForEach loop to iterate through the letters. So I'm just going to use let again. And now test the character for A or B or C. This is where people make mistakes. If let is equal to A, we're going to increase the count. Okay, I'll put a colon there. We're going to increase the count. Okay. Now, and that would add the count there. Okay. But here we actually want to find out if let is equal to A, or let is equal to B, or let is equal to Z. And the way I said it is the way you need to type it. Not if you're really sort of basic and you say if let is equal to A or B or C, because this is a typical error that people make, writing stuff like this. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. If let is equal to A or B, it might do to you in English, but this is computer science. So if let is equal to A or, and then you have to write out the total next condition, let is equal to B, and you can see that's a totally separate statement, or let is equal to C. Important that we can remember there's a double equal sign, meaning it's an equality check. Okay, so if let is equal to A or let is equal to B or let is equal to C, we'll increment the count. Now we're going to test the count, and here we'll say if count is greater than 0, print out the count. Okay, and we need to print not just the count, but we need to print out this message. Okay, so it says it here, and I'm just going to copy this just like this, and I'm just going to make this bigger so we can see it. There were X special letters. Now, so here I'm going to put that there were, and put that there so that I've got the space, and then I'm going to concatenate. Now X is an integer, so we have to make it into a string. Okay, so we have to make that into a string, and then we concatenate again, and then here I'm going to grab that in the string like so, and then I'm going to concatenate again, and so here it says there were, for example, 5 special letters in the string, and then it's got the string there. Okay, I don't need that there, so that's quite difficult. Here there's a piece of text, a string, there's a string, there's a string surrounded by speech marks, and there's a string. It's a variable, it doesn't need to be surrounded by speech marks. If you did surround it, it would just become a piece of text. Then we've got otherwise, else, and then with this else here you have to write out that. So once again I'm just going to copy this, else print, and I'm just going to put that in there. Then I'm going to put speech marks around. There were no special letters in the string, and then I don't want Y, so don't think Y is special. Okay, this Y bit here, so we need to look at these now because it's not X. Okay, there were, so here that should be count. Okay, and the string is called word. Okay, there were no special letters in the string word. Okay, and I've put that above the comment there, so I'm just going to get rid of the comment. And I'm going to run that, and what it's saying to us, if we type set, there were no special letters in that, but if we type something like Fabian has got an A, an I, an A, so hopefully 2 A's, so, and a B, there'll be 3 in there. Okay, three special letters. I'm going to submit that, and it worked. Okay, I hope that helped. Keep programming, guys. Do look at the model solutions. There's different ways to do some of these tasks. Okay, but hopefully that made a lot of sense to you.